Hey, my name is Samar. I also go by Sam or First Time Panner. Any of those you want to call me, you can. This will be an update from my project Level Up. This was created by Sofie Alexandra, who will be linked in my description box. And she created this project a few years ago just so she could get different types of use on her eyeshadow palettes. So she kind of combined Pan That palette with Pan Those eyeshadows and like no pan left behind type of project all into one. Basically, you randomize an eyeshadow palette, and for your first one, that's level 1, you have to use each shade once and hit 1 pan. Then you level up to level 2, and that is 2 pans and use each shade twice. And you kind of keep going until you feel like going back to the first level. Most people do up to level 5. And because it is randomized, Sofie does allow for a few vetoes, but I'm doing mine differently because I was inspired by Dannie, who will be linked in my description box as well, but she is on a hiatus at the moment. But Dannie was doing this project only with her Natasha Denona palettes, so I thought that was really interesting to only pick from one brand, and I thought I'd do that with all my e.l.f. palettes. So and I only have 5 e.l.f. palettes, so I'm not randomizing. I am like picking them like which palette I want to do for each level so that it's easier to pan them seasonally, and because 4 out of 5 of them are quads, so I couldn't do a quad for level 5 anyway. And of course, no vetoes since I'm not randomizing and I only have 5 palettes anyway. So those were my rules. For the past few months, I've been on level 4, which was my e.l.f. Bite Size Quad in the Color Story Cream and Sugar, and this is what it looks like. As you can see, I have hit pans, but only 2 of them in the mattes. Okay, for a second I thought that was a double pan, but that was just glitter. So yeah, I just hit pan in this light cream shade today, and I hit pan on this dark brown. Oh shoot, I just realized I don't have a panning notebook with me, but I'm not gonna get up to get it, so I'll post the uses on the screen. Anyway, I hit pan on this one about a week ago while I was out of town. I haven't used this since I hit pan on it because I wanted you to be able to see what it looked like with the amount of uses it took to hit pan. And then I just hit pan on this today, so obviously that's how many, the amount of uses it took to hit pan is what I have on this shade. For these two, I swear I must be like 1 use away from hitting pan. I genuinely thought I was going to hit pan today, which is why I planned to film this video today. I really thought I was going to hit pan on all 3 of these shades today, but I don't, and I'm honestly not too surprised because I've noticed that the like shimmer and metallic formulas are harder to hit pan on than the mattes in these little bite-sized palettes, which is the opposite of like how eyeshadow panning tends to go for most formulas and brands. But yeah, for the e.l.f. bite-sized palettes, the mattes are way easier to hit pan on. This one only took me a while because, and like as you can see from the uses, I have the most uses on this one because I just was using it with pretty much everything. I would always set my eyeshadow primer with this shade. It just took me a lot of uses because I was using a really big super fluffy brush. Because this shade is so light, I didn't want to use too much of it when I did use it. Yeah, that's kind of the down low on the Cream and Sugar palette. I will still keep going with this to of course hit my goal of hitting pan in all 4 shades in this palette, which once I do that, actually I will have what I consider to be an empty for my like beauty bank, because I count a palette as an empty if I hit pan in every single shade in the palette. So this, once I do hit the other 2 pans, it'll technically be an empty for me. So that has nothing to do with this project, but just thought I'd mention it. I'll also swatch the palette for you really quickly. I'll try not to disturb the 2 pans that I have. Here's what this palette looks like on my skin. So of course this shade right here is like blinding you because on my skin tone it is super light and frosty. Steph from Still Steph was saying it's kind of funny, like of course we know like color theory and how skin tones work, that I was talking about in my last update, how that shade looks so blinding and icy and I have to use just the tiniest amount, which is why even though I'm using a dense brush, like a dense like tiny brush with it, I still don't have pan because I have to use just like the tiniest amount. I went overboard today because I thought I was gonna hit pan and I was trying to get to the bottom, but of course I don't. But she was saying, yeah, that looks like basically a gold tone like lid shade for her, and for me it's a super icy inner corner shade, so I just thought that was funny. Moving on, I have decided to actually roll in my level 5 palette for this project. My next update will be in 2 weeks because this month is already halfway over, but in 2 weeks you will definitely see the other 2 pans in this palette, so I'll have rolled this palette out. But I just really feel like it's only going to take me one more use to hit pan on this, and I really don't feel like wasting an entire update on this palette if that is the case. So I'm gonna roll in my level 5, which is my rose gold nude palette. According to the rules, I have to use each shade in this palette twice and hit 5 pans. This is a 10 shade palette, so I will, assuming I hit my goal, I will have pan in half of the palette. I wanted to roll this in this update because this is for sure gonna take me a very long time to not only hit the pans, of course, but even just to hit the usage goals. That'll be 50 individual uses in this palette just for the usage goal, and there are only 3.5 months left in the year, so it's going to take me a lot of effort to even just hit the usage goal on that, considering I also have like eyeshadows and other projects, and I have an entire No Pan Left Behind series going on. So yeah, I wanted to roll this in as soon as possible. This palette is basically what I'm assuming is supposed to be like a dupe or an alternative to the Naked 3 palette from Urban Decay. As you can see, it has those pinks and purples and rose golds. Those are literally the only 3 colors in this entire palette, and the shades just kind of repeat themselves. You have like 2 of each shade in here, except my biggest complaint about this palette is there is literally only one mid-tone matte. So this is the shade that I use when I have used this palette. That's like the shade that I have to use in every single look I do with this palette. So I'm pretty sure that is one of the shades that I will try to go for pan. I have no idea how long it's going to take to hit pan in any of these shades. I've only hit pan in e.l.f. like bite-sized quads, so if any of you have any insight into like how long it's going to take me to do this, please let me know, but otherwise I'm going in blind. So yeah, this one is definitely going to be one of the shades that I'll try to hit pan on, and then I'm thinking like out of these 2 deep purples, I'll try to hit pan in one of these. Out of like these 2 rose golds, I'll try to hit pan in one of those. Out of these 2 like icy shimmery pinks, I'll try to hit pan in one of those. And then probably this one as well. So those are probably like my 5 picks for what I'll try to hit pan in, but also when I come back in a few weeks, hopefully I'll make it my goal to have used all of these shades at least once by like next time, just so I can give you a better idea of what I'm gonna try to go for. But definitely by the time I get all 5 uses on every single shade in this palette, I will, I'm sure, know exactly which ones like work the best for me and which ones I feel like will be easiest to hit pan on. So I'll give you much more information on this palette next time, but for now let me swatch out the palette for you so you can see what everything looks like. Here's what the palette looks like all swatched out, all 10 shades. So again, just so you can see it, this is what it looks like. I don't know what to say. I am excited to use this palette just because these are very different colors from everything I've been using for the past like 6 months. I feel like I've been panning warm tones for a very long time, but also, you know, this is not seasonal at the moment, at least where I live in Southern California. It is going to be, it won't drop into the 60s probably until like end of October. So this is a very like Winter Wonderland palette in my eyes, except for the 2 rose gold shades. Everything else is very, very cool toned, so I'll just have to see, you know, how this works out. But again, like I said, next week I'll come back and give you a lot more insight into like my thoughts and my usage. But for now, these are the 2 palettes that I have in this project, and I'm just like really excited to continue with this, even though, or no, I should be more positive. I honestly don't know if I'm going to hit my goal on this as far as hitting pans, but even so, I'm still really glad that I got to level 5. I never ever thought this project would work for me because I'm just not good at hitting pans. But if you feel that same way, pan these e.l.f. bite-sized quads, pan some e.l.f. products because they're very shallow pans. I don't know about finishing these because the pans are pretty big, so there's a lot of surface area, but if you're just trying to hit pan one of these, and maybe you can do project level up too if you're like me and not the best or fastest panner. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you to Sofie for creating this project, and thank you to Dannie for giving me the idea to pan every or like just all my palettes of the same brand. And wish me luck on level 5, but I'll see you in my next video, which hopefully will be coming tomorrow. But until then, I hope you have a great day. Bye.